You are now listening to Effin Radio.
And welcome to F&B Radio. My name is Lindsay Collins and I am your host. School's out for summer. Okay, I've had an extremely busy year and I'm so stoked about it. Honestly, I've had just like professionally for F&B Radio, it's been one of the biggest years, maybe ever in the history of F&B Radio. But every single month since the start of the year, there's been something that I am like, painfully nervous about. And they're all done now. There's been 6 things in the last 6 months, and I've finished them all, from wine and food events to interviewing Michelle Zahner of Japanese Breakfast and crying in H Mart, to speaking at Fab, to hosting a charity event, to doing Rip City, which is the monthly sketch comedy show that I'm a part of. Every single month there's been something that I'm just like, I have anxiety about this, nervous. And the last one just wrapped this week. That's why I didn't do a show on Wednesday. I just had to like take a second to decompress because I was like, oh my God, it's been, when you're just in go mode for months and your body just wants to like disappear. You're like, can I just, like, this is what I do. I start fantasizing about like my old days before I had kids, where I'm like, remember when you just used to get, I think they call it self-medicate with various substances. And in my life now, if you know me now, you know I have very few vices left. Like caffeine is one of my main vices. Nothing really. Caffeine is pretty much my main vice. And it's one of the few that I allow myself. But I mean, I used to really have just a whole rainbow of vices that I could utilize and deploy at any time that I needed, when my brain was feeling overwhelmed or when I was like pushing myself too hard, and I could just kind of bury it with other substances. But now in this iteration of myself, I don't have those at my disposal. I mean, I have them, but I keep them, those are locked away deep in the, no, you can't do that. But I start fantasizing about those, where I'm like, boy, wouldn't it be good to just like suddenly go to sleep really hard? You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't it be cool to just like take like a very grown up dose of NyQuil or like some sort of pill that would just knock you the fuck out? Like, when you start fantasizing about that kind of stuff, you know that your body's just like, really what you need is rest. And we're not sure how to tell you that in any other way, but it always like makes me wanna get lit. And not that I think about that all the time. I'm not trying to sound like a junkie over here. I just mean like there's certain triggers that I notice when I'm like really wishing for something. It's like a craving that I can't satisfy, where I'm like, I want something, but I don't know how to name it. And then it ends up just being something to make you go to sleep really fast and really hard for a really long time. That's how I know I've pushed myself too far. And I really had a blast doing all the things that I did all year. But I've been craving a little summer break. And it feels like it. And I was like kind of in just a dreamy headspace where I was like, finally, all of my obligations, you just kind of like fall onto your bed and you breathe and you think, man, I'm never doing that stuff again. And it's not, you don't mean that. I mean, of course, like I'm not even really getting a break. Like, actually, as soon as we have Rip Cities on the road in Savannah in a couple weeks, June 23rd, and then it's back in Charleston on the 24th. And then in July, we have the show, the house show / art show at our place, July 22nd. So there's no real break. I'm not even talking about an extended break or like going on hiatus. I'm actually just going to get right back to it. But for the next couple weeks, I have an actual break and I'm absolutely thrilled about it. I think that if you're in a place where you've been like kind of burning the candle at both ends or like really going for something, give yourself a break. Like even a small one, even a short one that isn't going to get you the rest that you need to get excited about the things that you want to do. Because I just want to say, like, all of those things that I've been doing, it's not like, oh God, I'm like holding my feet to the fire. Like, I love doing them. I love doing live events. I love preparing for stuff. I love interviewing people in front of people. I love getting on stage, and I love doing all of that. And I love writing, and it's all so fun. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't take it out of you, or that you're not going to benefit from recharging and getting yourself back to a place where like you have a fresh perspective. It's really hard to keep putting things out there and creating something new, making something that you feel excited about when you actually haven't rested. Like, you can kind of go back to that well only so many times before you have to, take a step back and get some inspiration, or actually rest long enough to hear what your brain is trying to tell you, or what's on your mind. So I've been noticing that in myself, where I'm just like, man, this feels like I'm really like on the verge of like a burnout in that way, like a creative burnout. And when that happens, I just want to encourage you, if you're feeling like that, it's not because you're washed up. It's because everyone needs that cycle of rebuilding and like rest. So don't feel weird about it. And also, like, it's hot and it takes it out of you. When it really starts to dial up the heat, especially here in the South, I get like, I have to shift into summer mode. I have to like shed my winter skin and get into summer me is a different me. And it's one of my favorite versions of me because it's a little bit more laid back. It's a little bit more fun. It's not as like, I really push hard at the beginning of the year and right at the end of the year. And then somewhere in the middle, I think we all do, there should be room for fun. So I hope you're having fun out there. Or if you're not, I hope you're actually getting a break soon, because I was feeling like a water skier that's just taking water to the face, like trying to pull up, and you're just getting just drowned until finally you're like, okay, shit, here I am. I popped up and I'm in a bikini and the sun's shining. And I'm going to just let the wind whip my hair around for a minute and feel that and feel good. That's what all I'm saying to you is, if you're feeling like I'm feeling, it's cool to rest. People don't talk about that. People just want to tell you that like you should keep pushing. And I think you do have to keep pushing. Like, you can't just like lay around and hope that creativity strikes you, or like opportunities come your way. You have to make them yourself, I think, in a big way. But I've been feeling, and I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I've talked to other people too who feel a similar way, where it's like you feel suddenly like, where this is very much feeling forced. This no longer feels like flowing. This feels like force. This feels like pushing through, when I'm like, actually what I really want is to not do any of that. Because I don't know what your trigger is. But when I started fantasizing about narcotics, that's mine. That just means my brain like wants to just shut up. It wants to shut me up. My brain is trying to like control, alt, delete my thoughts, and being like, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? Like, that is that's not sustainable. A good pace is important, but like, just being on it just constantly is not sustainable. Like, you need some fun in your life. You need to go get laid. You need to get a sunburn. You need to, I don't know, break break your arm. Don't break your fucking arm. That's terrible advice. But you know what I mean? Like, do something that's like, going to get you out of that rut. Break a toe. Maybe you break a toe from wearing your flippy floppies. Maybe that's something that would help, jar something loose in you. Because if you keep trying to I've been trying to really routine the fuck out of my life. And that does most of the time help me. But like right now, I can feel myself resisting the routine, which is not normal for me. So I know that means that I'm just due for a break, for a sweet little week off where I can like allow myself the things that I don't normally allow myself. And I hope to come back refreshed, I hope to come back with a fresh perspective. I think historically that works for me. That's always what kind of jumpstarts things for me when I'm feeling burnt out or blocked creatively. But yeah, I want to have a good time, especially because the boys, they really set the tone. The little guys in my life, they're like so amped for a summer and they want like summer adventures. And I'm like, this is just kind of an innate feeling that human beings get when it gets warm outside. And you got to honor that. You got to give it to them. You got to give them what their body's telling them that they want. They want, like they said, they want to break their arm. They want to go out there. And they do. They like do all kinds of risky shit. And I'm like sitting in here in my air conditioning being like, have I gotten my 20 minutes of writing in a day? It's just so rigid. It becomes so rigid and it becomes, if it feels like a chore, it probably is. So shake it up. Take your break. Come back refreshed in whatever that way is. And you'll probably be better off for it. And whatever you're trying to do will be better off for it because it definitely gets into the phone it in territory when you start pushing yourself to do something that you're genuinely just like not excited about. That can be hard to like differentiate because I think sometimes, the lazy side of my brain is like, well, are you actually not into it? Or would you rather just do something less difficult that requires less of your brain? And so I'm constantly weighing that. I'm trying to figure out what that is. But Jeremy's things are getting very busy as well. So it's kind of like we have to shift and take turns. Like I kind of got the first half of the year to really get my things going. And then now he's got a bunch of shows coming up. And it's going to be a big year for both of us. So I'm like just kind of trying to shift into a supporting role as well and not be so heavy on the output. There's just a lot of pressure to constantly be putting things out into the world. And you kind of need to take a step back and ask yourself for what? Like who's saying that this tempo has to be like that? Like I would rather put something out that I'm genuinely proud of than even this episode. I've started this episode over like 25 times at this point because I do feel kind of depleted and I'm still trying to, check that box. So I'm going to keep it short because I really don't want to just ever do anything that is considered, I'm just doing it so I can say that I did it. I accomplished my goal. Who cares if it's good or not? I do want it to be good and it will be good. But if you're constantly focused on output rather than just like, am I keeping myself interested in the work that I'm trying to do? Those are kind of two different things. Output doesn't equal like quality. Just because you're like doing something doesn't mean that it's what you should be doing. And I think we can find ways to busy ourselves. And I do this all the time where I have to catch myself and be like, wait, is this actually a good opportunity for me? Or is this just something that I'm like, technically I could do that. So why don't I? And it's like, well, there's more to it than that. You have to actually look at what's happening and think about and really be honest with yourself about how it makes you feel. Because there's so many different ways to play it. And there's so many different opportunities and all of them are good, but not all of them are like, make sense for you. Do you know what I'm saying? Is this making any sense? I feel like I've just literally, like my brain just doesn't even want to do it right now. It's been a struggle. And all I really want to talk about is how I keep getting served an ad about how my farts smell bad. But I should probably just talk about that. This thing is I said I only had one vice, but really I have a couple. I have caffeine, I have THC gummies, and magnesium as a supplement to make me go to sleep at night. If you want to do some I like to call it natural NyQuil, magnesium is insane. I know that's not groundbreaking, but it really works. Those are my three. But I'm like I have my gummy at night to kind of help me wind down because I'm sort of a head case and will just stay awake. I have like a lot of active energy. And so it helps me like kind of, take it down a notch at night and get ready for bed. And I was like scrolling and this ad was like, are you choking yourself out with your own farts? And I swear to God, I was like, have I like gone in, is this one of those like lucid dreams that people have where they're like, someone's fucking with me? Am I on a show? Is someone planting these and like watching my reaction? Cause I really did look around like, did it just ask me if I was choking myself out with my own farts? Like, that's the hook? Oh my God. I mean, and then it goes on to talk about how like acidic your gut is because of drinking coffee and like how I should switch to this mushroom supplement. But I've heard all that before, even seen ads from this same exact brand. But then they really just leveled it up. I think the algorithm just was like, all right, she's not biting. We got to say something so shocking that it'll stop her mid scroll because she's scrolled on by these ads that are, according to the algorithm, perfect for her. And so they really got me to stop with the, are you choking yourself out? Not saying that I am choking myself out with my own farts. I just want to know like what's going wrong in my life that they had to resort to that, or like who's behind this marketing and like what people are like willing to do anything to get people to stop. But they got me because I was just like, what the fuck did they just say? And it's like, stop grossing everyone out with your farts. What you need. And I was like, that is like, if that's the main selling point, like you really must have some problems, because I'm like, I get the whole like skin, hair, energy, vitality, like any of that stuff. But I'm like, who out here, what did my Instagram algorithm say about me that like, where's the Venn diagram that shows me having farts that choke people out? Like, did I forget that I took a THC gummy and Googled, is Jeremy going to break up with me because I choked him out with my farts? Like, that never happened. I've never done that. I don't know why I'm getting served this. I'm offended. I'm offended by that is insane. Like, oh my God. I'm going to just leave you with that. Just be gentle on yourself. That's all I'm saying. Because you know what? You're a nice person who isn't ending relationships because of your gut health. Your gut health is good, and you're good, and you're a good person, and you deserve a break. And I love you all. And I want to shout out the very sweet person who left a review. I know them personally, and thank you. It's so kind. The reviews help everything. They help people find the show. The show's back on the charts this week. It's another really exciting thing. Who knows if it will still be on the charts after this episode airs, but you know what? We're making it happen. Some way. Somehow. Happy summer. I love you all. I'll be back on Wednesday. And I'll see you then. Bye. 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 Pour passer de nuit à Oslo, on enverrait des cartes postales. Je laisserai un mot sur le frigo. On déciderait de se faire la malle. Ta famille, les amis, le bureau.